Hello, everyone. Welcome to Beyond the Range here at Stumpy's Corner, where we talk golf. But our main goal in 2026 is to help you become a better golfer so you can enjoy the game a lot more. I do know this: the more good shots you hit, the more you'll like it and the more you'll spend time with it. But we all have time issues, and I understand that. But we will be going over some tips and tricks that I learned um, to become a scratch golfer. But to begin, I want to tell you a story about my journey. From when I was 12 years old, I shot 158 my first round of golf. I didn't have a set of clubs, had to put something together, and then I received a 4-year full scholarship to the University of Maryland to play golf, and then went on to play in several sanctioned, which now is the Korn Ferry Tour or the PGA Tour events. But let's start from the beginning, folks. A little storytelling time. I grew up in a small town in Southwest Virginia, where the main sports back then in the late 60s was football, basketball, and baseball. My father was a tremendous athlete in high school, and those are the three main sports he played. And so that's where our focus was playing those three sports. And that's something we did from the time I believe I was 5 or 6 years old. I was doing something all the time in one of those three sports. And it was every day, all day, uh, working on skills, um, staying in good shape, running and ripping like a kid should do. Um, so, my mom and dad had never played golf before. Um, but as we went along, one of our teammates that was playing basketball and baseball with us, his family was a member of a club back home, and he took us out one day to play golf. And like I said, we didn't have any clubs. We didn't. We lived very modestly, you know. So it wasn't even in the realm of golf as a sport to myself or my brother. Um, so there's really not much interest in that from my mom and dad at the time because we were really focused on the three main sports that were happening in that small town. And it was some good sports too, some really good athletes in that town. Got me a little flyover here today for you. Um, so our friend took us out to the golf course uh, one day, and we had no clubs. Um, my brother and I, and so we went in the golf shop down in the bottom of the pro shop. Every golf pro shop has a lost and found club bin. So we put together pro went down there with us and put together a little set. And as I remember, it may have been like a full wood and maybe a 7-iron and a 9-iron and some sort of wedge and a putter. And he had these little old stick bags. Back then it was a little old canvas bag with a stick out of it with a one strap. And so we put those together, and he had a bunch of lost and found balls, old range balls, or not range balls, but just because we didn't have a range at that course. So he had some old balls he gave us, and didn't have many, and he gave us a ball retriever. Back then, the ball retriever was something almost a part of the set of the club with us. So we went on our way. We had no idea how to grip it or anything, but we did play baseball, and we would hit about 500 baseballs a day off a pitching machine. And so we knew how to kind of swing and kind of hold an object and whatnot. We kind of knew all that. We didn't know anything. We were just athletes going to play another sport. So there we go. Got the bag on his shoulder with the one strap, and we took off. And there were hills and up and downs and you name it. It was a big time walk around that golf course. So uh, at the end of the day, I shot 158, but I wasn't tired because I was in such good shape from playing all those other sports. But I shot 158, and like I said, we weren't members, so you could back then you could only go out and play this course a certain time of year if you were not a member and you lived in town. So I think it was maybe a dozen times, maybe. So here we come again. It's probably another 2 or 3 months later. Uh, we were still playing sports. Didn't have much time to play golf. Um, so every once in a while we get a chance, and our buddy would take us out and play again. And so we'd go out there and had our little old clubs that the pro gave us, and then we took off again, walking again, 18 holes, and didn't do much better, but had a good time. Enjoyed it. Enjoyed being outdoors. Enjoyed the exercise. Enjoyed the challenge of trying to hit a good shot, and so it was something we enjoyed. And so as we went along, that I say first year and a half, I would guess, we probably played out there, 8 to 10 times. One day the professional came out just to see how we were doing, talking to us. He goes, "Man, guys, I've been watching you. My buddy was a guy that took us out there was a good player already. He was a really good athlete. He was a good golfer, but we were totally ranked beginners." And the pro came up to me and says, "Man, you swing pretty good." Says, "I hear you play baseball. You play all the other sports." I said, "Yes, sir, I do." And he said, "You got some talent here. Let's see what we can do with that talent. And let me give you a little tip here, if you don't mind. Free tip." That's back when the pros would come out and spend a lot of time with people and a lot of fun. And they were mentors. We looked up to these people because they were a golf professional. And we looked up to our coaches, and this guy was going to try to coach me and teach me something. And so he said, "Well, son, we got to understand a couple things, but we're going to start with this thing first. You hit a lot of baseballs, I bet." I said, "Yes, sir, I have. I hit about 500 a day." He said, "Well, you're hitting a round ball with a round bat." I said, "Yeah, that's correct. I'm thinking." And he said, "We got to get your hands on there correctly." And back then, I would hit a big old slice. I mean, a big slice. It wouldn't go very far. And he says, "We got to get your hands on it correctly. And you're not very big in stature. Um, but how do you hit a baseball?" I said, "Do you hit it with some power?" I said, "Yeah, I got a little bit of power. Great contact, good power." He said, "Well, let's tell you what we're going to do. Let's relate everything to the baseball right now. And let's get your hands on there good in order for you, instead of hitting a round ball with a round bat, let's hit that round ball with a flatter face." I said, "Okay, that sounds good. Anything to help me." I was willing to listen because I was competitive. I like challenges. Um, I like fighting through stuff as a kid. And so he put my hands on there a certain way, would be considered a very strong grip that was turned way to the right, like I may have showed you in a previous video. Uh, he put them on there, and he said, "Now go on and play with that for a while, and I'll check back with you later," because he didn't know when he was going to see me again. But just take that tip right there. He put my hands on there, and he kept working with me, and there I went on my way. And so, I got to where I could get a little pop on the ball. My ball wasn't curving as far to the right as much as slicing the ball. Had a little more power on it. Ball did go quite a bit lower. Didn't go as high. So I kept with it. He said, just stick with it. I'll check back with you later. So that's probably a month, a little over a month after that. I'd been, when I had a little time, I'd go out in the backyard and put that grip on there and swing because that's what we did. We didn't sit around the house playing video games. We didn't have any. We didn't have any of that stuff. So, didn't have a practice range to go to. So I did most of my work at home. I'd sit in a chair and put that grip, my hands on the grip, and then I would go out in the backyard and swing the best I could with that grip. And then the next thing you know, we go back out and I started hitting some shots, and man, I was hitting that thing way to the left. It was low and way to the left. Um, so here he comes again. He's riding up, checks me out, watched me play a few holes, hit a few shots. And he said, "Man, that grip's worked out for you real good, hadn't it, son?" I said, "Well, yes, sir. I've gone from way over here to the right side of the golf course to way over here to the left side of the golf course. I've gone from a really high, weak-looking shot to at least it feels like I'm making some strikes on the ball with this flat face, and it's going way over here to the left, and it's a lot lower." So that was progress to me. I said, man, I changed something here. With all my work, I changed something, and something must be something to this. Um, so he said, "Okay, now your next step is, all right, let's take the baseball analogy, and you're standing in your batter's box, all right, right-handed hitter, right-handed golfer." He says, "You're standing in your batter's box, and tell me on that pitching machine, what's your goal when you uh, hit on the pitching machine?" I said, "Well, my dad always told me to hit the pitching machine. Every time I swung, try to hit the pitching machine." Well, not being too strong, Dad always put a real heavy bat in our hand. And we'd always we'd always just kind of turn and just kind of swing at it because we're trying to get that bat around. Um, but our goal was to hit more up the middle of the field, uh, not to hit to the shortstop or the third baseman because they're normally the best. Shortstop's the best athlete on the team in baseball, no doubt, or the center fielder maybe. Um, so he said, "All right, now you're standing in the batter's box, and your goal here with that grip I taught you, your goal here is to hit behind the runner." I said, "Okay, I understand that. I know exactly what that is. I try to do that too." And he says, your goal is to hit behind the runner, and my goal was to hit if there's a run on first base, and uh, my goal was to hit behind the runner and hit the ball toward the right side of the diamond or right of the pitcher, at least right of the pitcher. So that ball that was going way left, my goal now is to swing more to the right side of the diamond to try to straighten my ball out a little bit. So I got my grip on there. He watched me take a few practice swings without a ball before I hit it, and then I hit it. Ball still went left. Uh, he said, "Okay, you're ready to go." So you get your grip on there. I've been working on that religiously for, I don't know, 45 days. And then so I took this next swing tip and um, worked on that, trying to hit behind the runner. And consequently, in baseball, I kind of adapted that more in my baseball hitting as well. So anyway, it was another challenge for me. And so we go along, we got those two tips, and we started, going. We went out a couple more times, and my dad and mom saw how much we enjoyed it and going out there playing. So my dad made a decision that, again, they don't play golf. They have no interest in it whatsoever. He made a decision to move. So my dad bought a piece of property near the golf course. It wasn't expensive back then, and we weren't where we were playing wasn't the nicest club in town. It was decent. It was good enough. So where we could, my brother and I could walk to the course every day. So that was probably about 13, or, a little just past 13 years old. And still, I was shooting in the hundreds at the time. And so there we were near the golf course. We still playing other sports, and then we'd try to fit golf. And he joined the club. It didn't cost very much back then to join this club we were playing at. And so there we go. We started walking. We started playing more when we could. Anytime, all time we had, we went out and got our little stick bag and went and played. Just walked, carried our clubs, and had a great time. And so I kept working on those two things that the pro taught me, and went on for a long time. And next thing you know, I got to where, again, I was doing most of my work at that time still at the house, working on my grip, sitting in a chair out in the backyard, or swinging behind the runner. I even get in the batting cage we had in the backyard and practice hitting golf balls in that net from the batter's box. So it was pretty cool. Well, they didn't have a range at the golf course, so there was nowhere you could really. They had a couple of fields that they kind of mapped out where you could hit some balls. You could never really hit anything long. You could, but you didn't. If somebody else was practicing on it, you had to find a little spot and hit what you can. So um, didn't have much range practice, hence by beyond the range. So we joined and played, and next thing you know, we wanted to hit more balls. So with that ball retriever, when we'd go around the creek. We had a big old creek on a lake on both sides of the golf course. And as we were walking between shots, we'd walk down the creek line, and we would um, take that ball retriever and we would retrieve golf balls. People left in the creek, or we'd just look for balls as we'd go along. And we would take the balls that we would play with that looked good enough to play with, or had something left in them. We would play with them. And the worst condition balls we would put in an old sack that Mom had, a grocery sack. My dad was in the grocery business, and we would put those in there for range balls. And so we created a range bag. And so we would go to the little field there, just opposite the third hole, and we would go down there and hit balls with our little sack. And so be hitting balls, and you couldn't hit more than a 7-iron, really. I mean, you could hit a driver, but we found out real quick that we wanted to hit more balls while we practiced. And if we started hitting, our long club at that time was like a 3-wood or 4-wood or something like that. Didn't have a driver at the time. And so we would learn real quick that it took us a long time to pick up the balls that we hit with the longer clubs, because they were all over the place. So we cut our practice sessions back to just hitting 7-irons, 9-irons, and whatever wedge we had, and that was it. That's all we practiced with. The only time I ever really hit a driver was, or when I did get a driver, a longer club, was when I was playing. And so it was really interesting. And of course, the pro would come down and check us out and give us a few tips here and there, and just see how we were doing. But he really stuck with those fundamentals they told me. And we adjusted the grip over time and some of the swing just a little bit, but not mainly the grip. We just kept the grip, working on that grip. And so next thing you know, it got pretty good. And so started entering some tournaments and local tournaments, nothing fancy, nothing that cost a lot of money. It wasn't a whole lot of junior tournaments around anyway, except locally and then statewide. And then you had some national. We had no idea what was going on. But there was a little tournament, and we had time. We had a baseball game at night, so we had time to enter this little Henry County junior tournament. And went out and played in that. I think I was, 14 at the time, 14 and 15 age group, 13, 14, I can't remember. Lo and behold, I go out there and win my age group. So within less than 2 years, with a couple little tips and not a range really to practice on, and you know, whatnot, I took my old stick bag out there and won the age group. So then Dad and Mom got interested a little bit, wanted to know a little bit more about the sport, and because we were getting interested in it, we're getting pretty good at it, and so they bought a set of clubs. My dad bought a set of Bobby Rossberg's ceramic heads, and then my mom had a set of blue-headed Kathy Cornelius uh, clubs. Croydon made them. Company was Croydon, and so Mom took a set of clinics, and Dad had a friend of his. My dad never played golf in his life, and Wayne Hunley played football and basketball and baseball with Dad. Was a member at the club, and of course we were at that time, and so he got my dad out there one day to play a 9-hole match with two other folks he knew, and lo and behold, Dad comes home. I think he won $5, and he thought he'd made $1,000,000, and but that was the only round he ever played. Played 9 holes, won money, and that was it. He was done. Mom took that clinic, and that was it. So my brother got the Bobby Rossberg set of clubs. It had a driver, a 3-wood, and I think a 5-wood, and then had a set of some irons, and pretty much a full set of irons. And I got the blue-headed Kathy Cornelius clubs, and started playing with those, and um, lo and behold, we got pretty good at that game. I got where I could play a little bit, and we heard about this Virginia State Junior Championship. Um, and at that time, we had tried out for the high school golf team. We were still playing basketball at the time to stay in shape. Dad always believed that you need to be in good shape to play athletics and play sports at the best of your ability. So, and you have to work hard at it, and if you want to be good. And he always said, "Give it 100%." We'll do. They support us. They support us 100%, and they expected 100% out of us as well. So, um, we played basketball. We played some summer baseball. We didn't play high school baseball except one year, but we quit football, and we focused on basketball. And I was too small. I was a really good shooter, but I was really too small to go anywhere in basketball. And then baseball as a catcher, and could have had a nice career in that as well. But fell in love with golf, and so I had those clubs and played with those for a little while, and we got to getting pretty good at it. And the pro called my dad up and says, "We got to get these kids a little bit better set of clubs." So my dad and the pro worked it out. The pro was so good to us, and Jimmy Anderson, and he worked it out with Dad on um, getting us a set of. He had some old sets of Club McGregor's. One I had a 1-iron in it. I mean, it was. He was on the McGregor staff at that time, and Dad paid him a nominal fee to put us in a set of McGregor clubs, and both of us. And, so there we go, and we were playing every chance we had. We walked in the summertime, even before baseball games. We might walk 36 holes in a day in the morning and go play a doubleheader at night. Until one time, I think I went in a doubleheader one night. I was a catcher in both games, and I think I struck out 5 times and may have got one hit out of 10 at bats, maybe 8 at bats. I can't remember. But Dad was furious. He said, "Those boys will never play golf." I want to tell you of a baseball game again. So we didn't do that much anymore. But anyway, so we got wind of this Virginia State Junior Tournament, and the pro talked my dad into signing us up for that. I think it cost us $10 at the time, and in Roanoke, Virginia. And so I go up there, and my brother went with me, and go up there, and my mom took us, and went up there and finished, I don't know, third or fourth in my age group at 13 and 14 at that time. I won my age group in the Henry County, and I finished third or fourth, and so we were getting more excited, and so there we go. It just kind of one thing led after the other, and snowballed, and so then the next thing you know, the Virginia State Junior comes around again. I'd won the state high school championship in Virginia, AAA state high school championship that spring, and then I go up to Fredericksburg, Virginia, and win the uh, Virginia State Junior Championship at 15 years old. So it's crazy. I mean, we had no real formal instruction. There was no video. We had limited resources, um, but we were willing to work hard, and we loved it. And we were going to give 100% because my parents were going to give us 100% of what they could do if we enjoyed something. So anyway, one thing led to the other, and won that, and had a nice high school career. Played in several United States Junior Championships. Was runner-up in the medalist side of the USGA one year, and finished 8th one year in the medalist, and made it to quarterfinals 2 times in the United States Junior Championship. So that's a little bit of the story. And next thing you know, I'm continuing to play and having success, and I get recruited. At that time, there weren't that many college golf teams. They were non-revenue sports, and there weren't many scholarships to give out. So, but I was being recruited by everybody from Georgia to East Tennessee to Memphis State, Oklahoma State, Duke, North Carolina, NC State, Maryland, you name it. I had my choice, and but I decided to go to Maryland. They offered me a full scholarship because back then it's when Title IX hit, and so scholarships were really cut back, especially in non-revenue sports. And at the time, we had to make a financial decision, family-wise, and my brother got a full scholarship to the University of Maryland as well. He was already up there. He was a year older than me, and so I went up there, and we did everything we could to financially make it work, and it worked out great. Loved it. Had a nice team up there. But anyway, the moral of the story here is that on this Beyond the Range thing, we're going to talk some golf topics throughout the year, but mainly my goal here is to help you with your game. Um, Golf's expensive. There's a lot of information out there. I've been in it for over 50 years. I've done everything you could possibly do just about in golf, from working on a golf course, caddying, playing competitively, managing several golf facilities, um, and also teaching golf full time. So my main goal here is to share these experiences, and especially in the instruction side, because of all the information out there. And I still believe you can become a reasonably good player if you have good time management and you use your time wisely And you don't have to necessarily go to the driving range or go to the golf course to make yourself better at this game. So I'm going to try to give you some tips and things that that I was privy to, and people were nice enough to give to me for free. That really uh, made me the player that I became. It wasn't anything fancy. We didn't have video. We didn't have club fitting. There's just a standard line, standard this and standard that. It wasn't anything fancy. So I can believe that you can become a very good player, ever how good you want to be, with very little expense, and don't have to get wrapped up into all the information that's out there, the simulators, the videos, the trackmans, you name it. There's a lot of information. If you want to be a tour player or something like that, or do that, fine. That's okay with me. I have no problem with that. That's your choice. But I'm here to give you uh, a possibility of something that's a little less expensive. I'm not trying to make money off this. The only thing I'm trying to do as a retired 67-year-old is share my experience and share it like people did with me. They cared about me. They weren't looking for uh, making a lot of money off of it, and I want to share those experiences with you, especially with your golf game, and hopefully make you better um, at golf. So um, the only thing I would do, I would ask you to do, is if you would subscribe, share the channel. If you know friends of yours uh, who have kids, or friends of yours you play with, or that might be interested in learning how to play better golf this year, it won't cost them a dime, but it does help me monetize my channel. Um, and I'm not looking to get rich off of it. I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy sharing my stories and my experiences, and I hope it will help you too. I know it's been long-winded, a little bit longer video than I normally do, but I wanted to get on here and give you an idea of what's going on and what I want to share with you, and see how I can help you be a better player in 2026. So please recommend the channel, subscribe, like, send me a comment. Uh, Let me know what you're doing with your golf game and how you might need some help. And I'll be sharing tips on a weekly basis that I hope will help you be a better player in 2026. So let's get after it. You can do it in a small space, and you can do it at home, and you can do it at that little white object that seems to be a distraction to most of you. So I look forward to the opportunity.